right now.
Cool. Welcome, everybody. Hump Day Hangouts, episode 335, also known as 335. Today is the 14th of April, 2021. We got the whole gang here, so we are going to give our greetings, say hello to everybody. We've got a couple announcements to go over, and then we are going to jump into your questions. If you're watching live, go ahead. You can add your questions on there. You can just say what's up, say hi. Let us know you're alive and still kicking. If you're checking out the replay, come join us live sometime. It's every week, 4 p.m. Eastern at semanticmastery.com/HD questions. Let's see. Hernan, you are first on the list here today. How you doing, man?
Cool. What did I do? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be here. Weather's still nice here in Buenos Aires. We're heading into the colder season, but it's good. Everything's good.
Cool. What's going on in Facebook ads lands these days? What's the biggest?
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's insane. Like there's a bunch of changes coming up, but you know we're still looking good. There's a bunch of changes when it comes to privacy. When it comes to specifically Apple, iOS, you know, anything that has to do with that environment, there's going to be higher privacy enforced, which I think it's cool, but it's also, you know, a challenge for us marketers that are trying to develop or deliver relevant ads to people. So other than that, you know, it's looking good, and we're finding our way through it. So nice. It's challenging as usual. You know, that's the name of digital marketing. So fair
enough. Bradley, how you doing today?
Good, man. Super busy. Lots of good things going on. Just a lot of things on the horizon that are starting to pop, and it's just been good. So glad to be here.
Well, I think you were talking yesterday. Don't let me spoil the bean or spill the beans here if I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but I think you're working with some members in the mastermind for some sales type of stuff.
Yeah, we started last Thursday was kind of like the orientation meeting, but we have many mastermind groups in the mastermind. I've had one that I've been hosting for probably close to 3 months now with anybody that does marketing in real estate, either for their own real estate business, for investment purposes, or for flipping, or for if they're doing marketing services for realtors or real estate agents. And we do that one every 2 weeks. But then I just started another small mini mastermind that's meeting every week on Thursdays now for anybody that is doing a lot of heavy prospecting and sales for their own agency. Because I want to, get better at sales myself. And so we're going on starting tomorrow is our 42 weeks of consecutive mini accountability groups meetings every Thursday, where we're going to be talking exclusively about prospecting and sales methods and, just and trying to get better at that. So it's, I'm really looking forward to it. At the end, 42 weeks is going to take us all the way until January of 2022. And, we should all the members of the group, which I think there's six plus me right now. We should all be better at sales by the end of that for damn sure. So
yeah, I was about to say, if you're not, you guys all got a problem, but yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And what Bradley's talking about, if you're not in the mastermind, we regularly form, we try to do it about quarterly, form small groups and kind of the mini masterminds, if you will, right? So you can get more one-on-one time. And we're going to be starting that back up again pretty soon. So if you're not in the mastermind, you're thinking about joining, now's a really good time to get in before we start forming those up. Because once we do that, we wait another, quarter, and then we'll do it again. So, all right, Chris, how you doing today?
Good. So happy that spring is here. Like temperatures is up and down, like as it is in April, but things are pretty good.
Good deal, man. All right, Marco, what's the weather report?
It's the rainy season in Costa Rica. Can't you tell?
Looks awful.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's overcast, and it's a little bit cooler than usual. So I have my air conditioning turned up to 72. I think it is. And I don't want it like too cold, right? It's comfortable. But yeah, we have to suffer through these horrible seasons in Costa Rica. It's either dry or it's raining and warm. So life is what it is. Did anybody say GMB posting service? Oh, was I supposed to say that?
Did I hear something about GMB posting?
No. The VA that I trained to write for me according to Jordan's training, which I'm not going to mention live, of course, nothing of that is ever going to get up, but we write for both the bot and the person. We write for the entity, and to try to get the person's click And so the VA that we trained for that is actually writing templates, and they're tuned as far as you can tune 1,500 characters. You can do main entity and some supporting, but they're being set up that way, and so they're going to be well written. Everything is going to be checked and double checked. But of course, if you should happen to be getting that service, you should always edit your content according to what your message is, right? If you see something that shouldn't be, you can send it back to us. However it is, we'll work it out. But it's going to be, to me, the best way to do it has always been get people in that GMB as managers and get them to post from the GMB. I've never been a fan of auto posters, and we recently had some issues with some auto posters where the API was tagged as dirty by Google. I don't like mentioning names. I don't like saying what, who, or what. Let's just say that when you get people like Rob, our partner in crime in MGYB, and in the heavy hitter club involved in anything, an IP is going to get muddied up. It's going to get dirtied up. All right. So if you know that and you have things that you care about, why would you put that through a risk of that nature where it could be tagged as dirty? Now, we didn't know this until now, but my whole system has always been get them added as managers in the GMB, and they post from the GMB. They add images in the GMB, videos, everything gets done inside the GMB. Fortunately, I've only had a couple of suspensions during this whole time. So something must be right about adding the person as the manager in the GMB. Of course, it's mostly legit GMBs. One of the times that I did get suspended, it was added as a post office box with street address. Those are usually, or generally known as legit.
Right.
But they do carry a risk. And one of those risks is if it gets suspended, it's kind of difficult to get it verified again or to get the suspension lifted. At any rate, there you go. It's coming. It's another thing to be really excited about. We just continue to add what people need in MGYB to rank their shit, which is what we're all about. Rank your shit, make money, train someone to help you, make more money, lather, rinse, repeat. Make it a system. Making money should be a system.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're new to us, if you're new to Semantic Mastery, you're new to MGYB, and you want to find out more about what Marco's referring to there, find out how to shield your site. You don't have to worry about algorithm updates, and you can find out what the hell the SEO shield is, because I guarantee you're going to hear it like 10 times today. So head over to theseoshield.com. It's free training. It'll explain a lot of this stuff. Plus, it's actually got training in there about how you can apply this stuff. If you're looking to take things a step further beyond that, grab the battle plan. All right. That's step-by-step processes for SEO, all the stuff we do. You can check out that at battleplan.semanticmastery.com. And for those of you who are like us, if you're an agency owner or you're just a consultant running a small team and you want to get more clients, you want to grow your business, right? More revenue, and you want to scale your team, then 2x Your Agency is what we recommend you to check out. And that's at 2xyouragency.com. And we've already mentioned the mastermind. On top of the mini masterminds, on top of the webinars from everyone here, on top of the community, that's just where you're going to get the best and quickest turnaround on information. And the peer group is second to none. So if you're looking for that, whether you have a digital marketing business, again, whether you're a consultant or maybe you even have a brick and mortar like some of our members do, you can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Let's see. Last but not least, I wanted to mention POFU Live. So this is year 4. Is that right, guys?
Yeah.
I think so.
No, it is 4 because last year we didn't do it. We did a virtual event. So that's why I didn't register. But yeah, this is 4.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. So POFU Live, we settled. We were able to schedule this in. So it's going to be the last weekend in September 2021. So that's going to be the VIP day on the 24th. And then we're going to have Go Hard on 25th, 26th with ourselves, with some amazing guest speakers. It's going to be a ton of fun. I was really happy this last year. The feedback was probably the best out of the last 3 years, which we were really happy about going virtual. Of course, we weren't sure. But we did that. Feedback was great. Everyone got a ton of value out of that. And we're going to be opening up tickets for that pretty soon. As usual, for those of you who are taking action and grab them fast, there will definitely be a kind of a pre-launch or early bird offer. So make sure you take advantage of that. And we'll be sharing more information about that over the coming weeks and then over the summer too. So stay tuned for that. Anything else, you guys, before we drop into the questions?
I just wanted to mention real quick that it's crazy because you said the peer group is second to none in the mastermind, and I agree. And it's funny because one of our longest members had kind of gone dark for quite some time, but he remained a member. And just recently, in the last few weeks or month and a half or something like that, he's resurfaced and he's been participating a lot in the group and joined the mini mastermind with me. And he's also joined a small accountability group that I hold with a couple other members on a weekly basis. And it's just great to see. He's been with us since like day one. And so for, somebody to be all these years and then to still participate with the group, it just goes to show you that, it is a good peer group to be in, guys. So I would recommend you doing it.
Definitely.
Get access to the small groups and all that. So, all right. Well, I'm going to grab the screen and let's get into it. We've got several questions already.
We can see your screen, Brad.
Okay, good. Thank you. It looks like Justin is the one that we're starting with. Okay, he says, I just listened to a video where Bradley was talking about adding a G Suite account for all new projects with their own billing information. Okay, are we supposed to avoid using the same billing credit card address info between projects to avoid a footprint? Excuse me. And if so, what's the most practical way to do that? I don't use different billing information for G Suite stuff. For client stuff, they do it, right? But for my own stuff, I use my same information because it's me that's required to pay for the billing. I've never had an issue with it. I know I've heard other people say that they have, but I've never had an issue with having multiple Google Workspace accounts. It's never caused me any problem whatsoever. So I've got like literally, well over a dozen, I can say that. I don't know if I got 2 dozen yet, but well over a dozen Workspace accounts that I pay for $6 a month every single damn month for every one of them. But there's a benefit for it. And most of those accounts make me quite a good amount of money. So it's totally worth it. And I've never had any trouble with having the same billing information. So I'm not sure which video you were watching, Justin, but I don't have any problem with it. That doesn't mean that it can't potentially create a problem. Maybe somebody else here has had a problem with it. Marco, have you?
No, I've never had problems, but I use multiple credit cards. I get people to get me like something with like $500 credit limit so that I can use it in ads and all these different things. And the only pain with that one is having to update it. Like every time the card expires, you do have to update the information, but you just hire a VA to make all those changes.
Okay.
That's how I do it. I know you do it your way and you've never had trouble. I do it my way.
Yep.
I've never had problems.
Very good. Next, Gordon says, and by the way, guys, if you were worried about it, a lot of credit card companies will allow you to create virtual credit card numbers where you can they'll give you like a unique credit card number for one specific account so that you're not using the same account number across all the different things that you sign up for. A lot of credit card companies will offer that as an option now. So they'll give you, it's all tied to the same card, the same account, but they give you virtual credit card numbers. So that might be an option you can look into if you're worried about that. So
the only problem with that one is if you're using it with Google Ads and for some reason the virtual card gets declined, everything related to that card will then get declined, including the main card.
Really?
So that's an issue. And I know someone that it happened to, which is why I'm mentioning it.
Okay. So Gordon's up. Long time, Gordon. He says, hey, guys, I believe you mentioned previously that we can blast a ton of backlinks directly to a Yelp listing and get it to first page of Google search results. Yeah, it's been a few years since I've done that, but that used to work incredibly well. He says, if it's not in a super high competitive niche or area without getting any Google penalty, while for GMB listings, we should, of course, use RYS Google Drive Stack from MGYB or Web 2.0 sites as tier 1 buffers so as not to incur any Google penalty. So I was wondering if you could explain what is the reason that Yelp and GMB are different in that respect. They're not. unless Marco has something to say differently, you can just hammer away at the GMB profile, just like you can a Yelp listing. So I've not had any trouble with that either. Is there anything that I'm misquoting here, Marco? Or
no, that's a misinterpretation of what we said. We said all bets are off when it's a Google property.
Yeah.
I mean, a GMB listing is a Google property. It's on a Google subdomain. It's on the Maps subdomain. All of the business domains are on a Google owned domain. That business site has a lot of power, man. It can push a lot of power. Those posts will push a lot of power. So no, all bets are off with those. They get hammered. They get hammered. We've never made a distinction. The only place where I've made a distinction is just leaving the money site pristine, never hitting it directly, because you want that to get links naturally. However, whatever that means, but in a natural manner. So people are going to link to it. People are going to share it. People are going to do whatever it is naturally. You want that to happen to the money site, where off page and through Google, as I said, or through something that's a really powerful, it to be a really powerful domain like Amazon, MSN, Yahoo, just whatever, YouTube. Oh, well, YouTube is a Google property anyway, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it has that high trust and authority, according to Google, not according to vanity metrics or third-party metrics, but according to Google, then hammer it. Citations, hammer those. Yelp, Yellow Pages, all of those, hammer them. S3, ad ID, all of your tier 1 assets, hammer them. That's what we say. Leave your money site pristine. I know Bradley likes to go with press releases to the money site. I don't recommend that unless you know what you're doing, because it's going to mean hundreds of links to whatever that page it is that you're linking to. So you better know what you're doing. Other than that, I don't see any problems. I don't see any issues.
There you go. And yeah, so I was going to disagree with what Marco said, that when we talk about using the Drive Stack and syndication networks and all that as buffers, it's for any money site or money page that you're trying to push. You don't want to, but when you're hitting the GMB website, the Google Maps URL, GMB or Google site, those kinds of things, you just hammer away. So okay. By the way, this is good. This is good because this is a question about press releases, and I wanted to kind of touch on what Marco just said. I do use press releases to link sometimes to the money site. When I do, though, it's always a naked URL or a brand anchor. That's it. Like, it's either a naked URL or it's a brand anchor if I'm going to use an anchor text, which is okay for the money site. But that's it. Like, I don't do any keyword rank links using, so keyword anchors from press releases directly to the money site. However, you can use keyword anchors in press releases when you're linking to an SEO Shield property, for example, or GMB, asset, for example. So, again, it's about very strategically using press releases, but I do like using press releases as an actual link building tool for my money site stuff. So, all right. So the next question was from Ron. He says, when filling out the MGYB press release form for best results to boost Google rankings for a service-oriented keyword page like domain.com/general contractors Fairfield, California, and help boost my Google My Business page, General Contractors Fairfield CA is the keyword I'm wanting to rank for. Number one, what is the best 3 links, URLs, or 3 links to submit and the anchor text? Okay. Well, as I just mentioned, if you're going to link directly to your money site, to that particular page, as like in that example, then I would leave that as either just a naked URL, so the URL is the anchor, right, or a brand name, and that's it. Like, nothing else. If you're gonna link directly to the money site, okay. What are the best 3 links? Well, it's not necessary to always put 3 links in there. You also have to consider what you're doing. If you go to youtube.com/semantic mastery, you can search search our channel, use the channel search feature and search for press release SEO or PR silo stacking, any one of those terms, and you can go through and watch, and maybe we can even drop the link in here in the chat box. But there's a webinar that Marco and I did, probably close to 2 years ago now, about how to silo press releases together. And that's a very, very powerful way. That's kind of what I've been doing now for many, many months, is just doing PR silos. And we talk exactly how to do that. So it's not necessary to, you can still use 3 links, but you got to think about what how you're splitting up the page rank or the link equity that from the press release. And it's better to try to limit your URLs. Like I try not to do more than 2 links now in press releases. I was doing 3 for a long time, but I really just stick to 2 now. And that's always because it's 1 to my target property and 1 to the previous press release in the silo, if that makes sense. And we talk about that in the press release silo webinar. So if you just go check that out, it's free. It's on our channel, and it'll help you to get better understanding how to use press releases in it as just to stack them in a silo order or fashion, if that makes sense. All right. So
I've always recommended 2 links.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing now for months. So, and I agree. And usually at the top of the silo, I'll only have 1 link in the press release, and that's to whatever the target is, and I'm trying to push the power to.
And contextual. Don't make it. I'm going to drop you some more. Make it contextual. Don't make it a naked URL. Contextual works much better for creating the semantic relationships that we're looking to create.
At the top of silo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But remember, don't do that if you're linking to your money page, right? Do that linking to one of your SEO shield properties. So again, if you're linking to your money site page as the top of silo in the press release silo, then you want to use naked URL or brand anchor. In that case, I would probably go with brand anchor. Well, except that your naked URL has your keyword in it here. So that could be a way to do it too. So, but just like I said, be careful what you're doing with the press releases. If you're going to be linking to your money page, just stick with either naked or brand anchors, naked URLs or brand anchors. As far as the best 3, like I said, that I select typically it's going to be an SEO shield asset, the gsuite mirror page. So the page that has been mirrored after the page that I want to promote on the money site, except it's on the gsuite, if that makes sense, or GMB, or whatever it is that I'm trying to link to. But if you're going to do 2 links, then it would be whatever your target is that you're trying to push the most power to, and then usually to one of your other tier 1 entity assets, one of your other branded entity assets within the SEO shield, syndication network, GMB website, gsuite, Google Map URL, any one of those. If you're trying to push maps like in the local 3-pack, then I would recommend linking to your whatever your target URL is. Again, if it's going to be your money site page, then so be it. But as the second link, I would always link to either the GMB website or the GMB map URL. And I know that was one of your questions. What's the best URL to link to there? And I'm going to show you how to find that in just a moment. Okay. As far as anchor text, like I said, if you're linking to SEO shield assets or any tier 1 branded entity asset, you can use keywords. And that's what Marco just said is actually better. That's more powerful than naked URLs. So your anchor text is going to be whatever you want it to be. So for example, General Contractors Fairfield VA, I would probably word it slightly to where it reads naturally, like General Contractors in Fairfield, California, or in Fairfield, CA, and use that as an anchor text to link back to, again, your GMB website or your GMB map URL or something like that. Okay. Marco, do you want to comment on that while I show him how to find that URL?
No, that's fine.
So if we go to if I just do a quick search for Big Bamboo Marketing, there it comes up. If you do a brand search, you get a knowledge panel to appear. Then there's a Chrome extension. It's called Gather Up. So it's Gather Up Chrome extension, and you just click that, and right there is that's the maps URL that you want to use. It's the www.google.com/maps?CID equals URL. Does that make sense? And again, it's called a Gather Up Chrome extension. Just go to Google and search Gather Up Chrome extension, go add it to Chrome, and then go do a brand search for the brand that you want to grab that URL from. And when the knowledge panel appears, you can also do it inside of Google Maps. It won't give you the Google write a review URL if you do it inside of Google Maps. But if you just do it from standard Google search and the knowledge panel appears, you'll get both of these URLs. And that's the URL you want to use. Okay. It's a good question. All right, number 3. Oh, how do you find the right? Okay, and should it be one of the 3 link URLs? Well, it can be, but also remember, if you're buying press releases from us, Press Advantage allows you to add a Google My Business map to the organization page for that brand, right? For that company. And one of the options is to embed the GMB map into the press release. So, you can link to that map URL if you'd like, but you can also just opt to have the map embedded, which is typically what I do. Okay. Okay, moving on. What is the best practice for the image? File name the image with the keyword. The best practice for the image, again, if you're doing maps, is to use or trying to rank locally or whatever, is to use the URL of an image that's already been published on your money site. So like if you've got a page, in this case, your General Contractors Fairfield Ca page, whatever image you have on that page that's already been optimized, hopefully you've already optimized that image, the file name, the metadata, all of that stuff's been optimized, geotagged and everything, and it's been added to the page on your money site, then add the image through the URL. Because then what Press Advantage does is it publishes the press release using the source URL for the image source from your money site page. So now you've got your website, the photo that is a media file on your website, which has now been syndicated out to hundreds of press release, published on a bunch of different news and media sites. So it's pushing credit back to your money site image URL, if that makes sense. So that's what I do. And then likewise, if you don't want to, if you're not linking back to, you can also use an image from Google My Business, for example, from your Google My Business profile. You can embed an image from there using the image URL there. So just think about where it is that you're trying to push the power to. If it's all trying to push to the power to the money site landing page, so the location landing page, then use the image URL from that page. If it's that you're trying to push maps, grab an image from maps. Make sure it's been geotagged before you upload it, but then grab the URL from maps and use that as your embedded image URL. Does that make sense? And then for keyword, I just usually put whatever keyword I'm trying to optimize for, and then I put by, like the letter BY, and then the brand name, so that I'm creating that association between the brand and the keyword. Any comments on that?
Yeah, one of my press releases will have my logo. Another one of my press releases will have the logo from the GMB. So it'll create that relationship between my GMB logo and the logo on my website. And then I'll just keep adding images that are part of my entity from around the web. So however many press releases are in my stack, that's the number of images that are going to go out. They're all going to be related because I'm going to be claiming all of those in my same as information in the schema. The idea here is to reinforce all of these entity relationships that we're creating, all of these brand relationships that we're creating. So I'm going to use my logo. I'm going to use the GMB logo. I'm going to use images from the GMB and images from my website and related images. So I'm going to have between 3 and 7 press releases before I start my next stack, and so on until I rank it. And then one of the ways that you can also do it is you can do like an image embed run to continue creating those relationships, to continue powering up your images, and you'll pop an image carousel so when someone does a brand search, you'll get that nice image carousel, you get a nice video carousel if you have videos. And then that adds, so the reason for this and why I like doing this is because people will often, when they look at you, if they're gonna hire your service, they'll do a brand search. What is this company about? And when they go in, I only want them to see my stuff. Yeah. So I want to pop all that up for them. When they come, and you'll see people doing the brand search. When they come, they do the brand search and they see everything that's related to you. Wherever they click, they're going to land on one of your properties. And if they click on it, hopefully they'll go to a CTA. So you're always trying to create a way for that person to convert. It's not just the idea of creating the relationship or whatever. There has to be like a purpose behind all of this, and the purpose behind it all is to try to convert as many people as possible, trying to get them to click, trying to follow that call to action.
Yeah, and it's interesting, if you notice, if you do a lot of GMB stuff, you'll notice there's a lot of brand searches that come in GMB Insights. You'll see that a lot, and what I've kind of discovered is that, and I guess this has been known, but it's interesting to see it more and more recently. But I think a lot of people will, when they do like a generic search for, keyword search for a service or whatever, and they find a company that they're going to contact. Again, in my case, it's pretty much all tree service stuff now. So if they find a tree service contractor through a generic keyword search that they're going to call to request an estimate from, they oftentimes will go do a brand search before making the call. And so so it's really interesting. But in GMB Insights, I see all the time now that brand searches are one of the top keywords that are used to trigger the maps listings. And it just makes you wonder, like, who's doing all these brand searches? And it must just be that people are kind of being conditioned to go look at what else is being said about the company before calling them, especially for contractors. So you agree, Marco?
Yep.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing. This is what I was talking about. So here was an image just from Big Bamboo Marketing example. That was the URL. So you can see it's in the actual, domain, but this could be the embedded image in the press release. And then here was one that I just took from this is a GMB post from Semantic Mastery. And if you just click on a GMB post image and click copy image address, that's what it looks like. And so you can also, and look at that, that's a Google user content domain that's already been associated with your brand. It's tied to it because it knows where it's been placed. And so that's a very powerful thing to do as well. So those were really good questions, by the way. So we're going to keep moving. What is the best practice for the YouTube video? Title name with the video with the keyword. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do. I don't do a whole lot of video SEO stuff anymore, but I still optimize them the same way that I did years ago, which I always do the primary keyword, then a separator, and then the brand name. That's how I always have done it. It works.
Give them the link to YouTube Silo Academy. It's only $7, man, or whatever it is.
I think it's yt.silo.academy.
Yeah, I'll grab the link and put it on there.
Yeah.
Go grab that, man. That's one of the best investments you can make. It's only $7.
That's it right there. Beautiful. Now you don't see my fat face on there anymore either. I had to replace that. I saw it like 6 months ago and I was like, holy shit. I was almost 300 pounds at the time I recorded that sales video. Anyway. All right, moving on. That was really, really good questions. Okay. And you can embed a video into press releases. They don't get embedded on all of them, but you can add a video URL to a press release. Okay, BB's up with a list of questions. What's up, BB? He says, hey guys, why won't you rather keep all of your methods to yourself than telling it to others? Why do you teach this? Why do you want this kind of income stream than rather hammering your methods for you only? That's a good question. I mean, originally when we got started, it was it was all of us that you see here today, but we had got together through a forum that another like mastermind that we had joined, which was basically a forum, and it was supposed to have a webinar once per month, which didn't end up panning out. but we were all paying $200 a month to be a member of this particular like mastermind community type thing, and it was mainly just access to a forum. And we would all chat often in the forum. And I ended up deciding that I wanted to create a weekly accountability group so that we could just meet on a weekly basis. At the time it was Google Hangouts, and just kind of share what was working, what wasn't working, and just learn from each other. And so all of us connected, and as well as many others, and we would just start meeting every single week. And what happened was, it was funny, but before we decided to monetize it and turn it into a business, I think we had on any given week, roughly 25 to 30 people show up every week, but it was really like just a handful of us. It was us and a few others. There's probably about 8 of us that would would be sharing every single week, and talking and sharing and talking and sharing. Everybody else would just show up and listen, which was fine. But, after the original group that we had all joined and we were paying $200 a month for wasn't providing what it had promised us, we decided at some point, we realized like, hey, we're putting out better information than what we're paying $200 a month to be a part of. So why the hell don't we monetize this and turn this into a business? And so that's what we did. We formed Semantic Mastery. Before we actually became a corporation, we went out and kind of we just started trying to develop an idea of how we were going to monetize stuff. And then it took a few months before we actually incorporated, and we had to work out, we lost a few that were originally going to be partners with us, but it ended up being just the 5 of us. And part of it was because, there's so much, look, we can't do it all. Like, in other words, even if everybody that comes and watches these webinars on Hump Day Hangouts wanted to get into specifically tree service marketing, there's enough damn tree service contractors in the United States alone that there's enough for all of us. There's a big ocean of money slopping around out there, and there's not really any one of us can do it all. You know what I mean? There's enough room in the space for all of us, is my point. And so there was really no reason for us not to share some of our methods and techniques, especially because, you know, in this industry, you guys know there's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of shit that gets pushed out there. And our methodology was always such that, and this was what we literally developed semantic mastery on, was that we would only teach stuff that has been proven, that we've proven. And because each one of us has our own digital marketing businesses in various forms, we have a vast amount of experience, and we only share what we know to work with our own projects and our own clients and such, so that it makes it not risky for our members and our students. And that was part of the reason that we wanted to do it, was to kind of help to, you know, provide some good stuff out there among all the bullshit, if that makes sense. And so, and it's just stuck. You know, this is not my primary source of income, but it has been good to us, to me, you know, and so that's part of the reason we do these free on every single week, is so that we can give back to this industry, which has treated me well over the years. So that's my take on it. What say you?
Yeah. So I'm thinking about this, and from the numbers that I know, I think it's at least $4 trillion that was spent only online shopping last year. 4 trillion. How much of that do you need to be happy? Or how much of that do you, I know want is like a really heavy word. How much do you need? Yeah, I want the entire trillion. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not greedy like that. I'm happy with a piece of the pie. I love to compete, so I don't mind people coming on. And like Bradley said, there's plenty of room in the tree service market if you want to get in it. But not only that, if you want to compete with me, you're more than welcome. Let's see. Now let's see. We have an even playing field, because I'm giving you the same information that I use to get results. Now let's see who wins, because at that point now we're at war, or what I see as war. And I'm at war with you if you're my competitor, and I'm going to do all I can to knock you off, man. Because there's only room for one number one, and I'm going to try to get as many of that 2 or 3 of those other positions in the top 10 to knock you out. I mean, and it's but that's my competitive nature. But I'm also seeing it. I'm not a person who comes from scarcity. I don't like that. I don't like people who look. There's only $4 trillion. I'm like, holy crap, 4 trillion only in online shopping. That doesn't include how much money is traded online, how much money there is, for example, in the service sector, and all these other things that take place online. You can do so many other things online other than have an e-commerce site or an affiliate, or you can provide services. You can provide services for service providers. So many different things that you can do. If a person comes into my neck of the woods and they want to compete, then you're more than welcome. So Bibi, the answer is, like, I don't give a shit. I want people making as much money as they can off Google and off the other search engines. Once they dominate Google, go after Bing, go after whoever else you want to go after, because it doesn't make a difference. You're not taking money, or you're not taking food off my table by me sharing my my methods, my systems with you, by making them available, by this being an income stream. And I laugh when I see that, because this is free. We don't make any money off of this. This is free. So if we had any kind of scarcity mentality, we wouldn't even be doing this. So you wouldn't even have this available for you to come and ask this question. And then not only that, like, my main source of income isn't semantic mastery. It's not MGYB. It's not the heavy hitter club. And in fact, I do Hump Day Hangouts because it's fun, because I enjoy it. I like to talk shit. I like to share information. I like for people to know the bullshit that they're being fed in other SEO groups. And I like to give back to the SEO community that has given me so much during the time that I've been online, which is 18 years, 18 and counting right now. So that's my answer. It's not scarcity. It's fun, and there's plenty of money to go around, man. Plenty.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I think it's fun, and also it's this might sound cliche, but over the years we've had many students or members, because like I said, in the mastermind, I don't consider those guys students or those folks students. They're members, right? Because they're colleagues essentially. And we've had many of our members or whatever that have over the years become very, very successful. And, they've given us some credit for that. Obviously, it's them that does the hustle. We've just provided them information, but they had to apply it and put in the work and everything else. So it's them that did it. But we had some part, and we've been given credit for that at some level and helping them to succeed. And that's very rewarding. It really is. That's part of the reason I got into doing this, was to help encourage other people to make a change in their life, to get over the rat race, working just over broke, right? JOB, having a job, being just over broke, and doing something to secure their own financial future, or at least give them more control over their own financial future. And that's that's part of the reason I got into doing it, because, I spent many years literally behind a computer screen studying and testing for, 14, 15, 16 hours a day before I started making any money. And then once I started making money, I wanted to be able to help other people to do that as well. And all of us, my partners and I, all have that, that desire to help others, or else we wouldn't have done this all this time. And that's what I was pointing out up here, 335 episodes. And this is the free webinar that we do every single week. So that's well over 6 years. We're going on close to 7 years now, which is insane. So anybody else want to comment on that? Adam, Hernan? We got time.
No, I think you guys kind of, a combination of all of that. Yeah, it's fun, and, sharing this is definitely a part of it. And I think over the years myself have moved more into that non-scarcity mindset, of there's so much out there, and, there's so many ideas. I've probably even gone even further where it's just like, yeah, we could share all day, because so few people are going to take the time to implement things and get things done. And it is work, right? When it comes down to it, you got to steal from Marco, do the do, right? You can listen all day, but if you don't implement, it doesn't mean shit. So, yeah.
Amen. Anyways,
and it is fun. I like getting on here and talking. And, I just think it's funny if you guys go back a few years in the archives on YouTube and check us out, and be, I especially would be like, hey guys, like, hey, I'm Adam. Now it's like, man, screw it. I want to talk to people. Let's do this. So good times.
Yeah. Essie, our new, we got time, guys. We don't really have any other questions coming through, but Essie, our new, member who's instructor for Syndication Academy, she, when we were launching that a few weeks ago, her and I got on a Zoom call to record basically the sales video, the video sales letter. And she was super nervous, and it was funny because she was like, I don't know if I can do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was telling her, I was like, hey, you're going to get better. Don't worry about it. Like, honestly, you'll get better. It's just like anything else. You get better at it with time. You get more comfortable doing it. And I remember that's why I was talking about the YouTube Silo Academy. That was one of the very first few products that we launched. And, I was close to 300 pounds at that time. And it was a real close up headshot. It was just my fat face talking into the camera. And it's so funny because, as Adam says, you look back and it's like, wow, we've come a long way. I'm so much more comfortable talking to on a webinar and such now. So yeah, it's been interesting to watch kind of the progression of all of us. And we're still here. We're still doing this every single fucking Wednesday. I mean, again, 335, we're going on 7 years now. So, I'm proud of us for doing that. All right, last question, and we're going to wrap it up a little bit early unless somebody else posts another question. BB says, does your method will not take a hit from the May update about Core Web Vitals? I don't know. Most likely not. Because, we've been fortunate with the methods that Marco mainly has developed, with the semantic SEO, essentially entity-based SEO, that we've been able to just slide right past all the major updates for the last several years, which is why we just keep sticking with what's working instead of trying all these new things. Because we've been very fortunate to, our methods have escaped any problems with all the major updates that have occurred over the last couple of years, for sure. So I don't expect to see any difference, but we don't know until a rollout is, or until an update is rolled out, whether it's going to affect. We can't, again, BB, that's a purely speculative question. And we're not going to speculate on that. But my assumption is that we will do just fine. But we will find out for sure when it happens. What say you, Marco?
Yeah, I'd like to give him my answer because it's my standard answer. BB, if I could answer that question, what I would do today is jump on a plane to the US and get on that Mega Millions and hit it and never look back. I have 500, I forget what it is, it's something ridiculous, 300 million, 500 million, and I'm out, see ya. That's if I could answer what Google is going to do tomorrow, because we don't know like day to day, much less what Google is going to do in May. What I can tell you is that up until now, our method has always been worryless SEO. It's entity based. We focus on the entity. Everything goes towards that part of the algorithm. And what I have seen from what Google is testing, from what Google is rolling out, from what Google has rolled out, is that ART, activity relevance, trust and authority, will trump anything. And I can almost guarantee that ART, if you do this right, if you have the entity set up properly, if you have all the bases covered, and if you have all of the pillars, like we've always set it up, that's going to overcome any negatives that you can get from page speed or from the core web vitals. That doesn't mean that you ignore the core web vitals, because why ignore them if they can give you an additional boost?
Yeah.
But as far as negative, the way that we do it, since we're focusing on the entities, has always avoided any of the negative aspects of the algorithm. And I think that as long as you're sending good signals, you're always going to overcome any negatives that could happen. Now, is this going to hold true into the future? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. How can I answer what Google is going to do in May? I can't say whether I'm going to be here in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I hope I am. That's all I can say. And that's all I can work towards. All I'm going to do is continue doing the do I do into the future. And should Google change it? Should Web Core Vitals make a difference? Then we'll just adjust it so that we incorporate core Web Vitals into everything that we do. And that's how we've always done everything. We adjust. We didn't start out with the SEO Shield. We started out with Syndication Academy. Everything that you see today has been building off everything else that we do. It was IFTTT SEO.
Yeah.
Then that wasn't as strong as it should be. We went and see, okay, how can we make it better? Oh, okay, RYS Academy Reloaded, Add ID. We incorporate more into Syndication Academy.
Local GMB
the SEO
Pro.
Shield. What's that?
Local GMB Pro.
Yeah, local GMB Pro, but with the SEO Shield.
PR Pro.
Local PR Pro with local GMB Pro with the SEO. I mean, everything has been building one of the other. This didn't happen overnight. So should anything happen overnight, when this rolls out, we'll go take a look and see what happened, and we know what it is, and so we just adjust for it. It's very simple.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we're going to wrap it up. But a shout out also, that I should have said this earlier, to Adam. He posted in the Slack channel with SER, instructor from Syndication Academy, a really, really good find, which I'm not going to reveal here because it will be revealed in one of the upcoming Syndication Academy update webinars. But I played with it, Adam, just because you mentioned it, and I've got some tests I want to run with that. But I could see the value of it immediately when you said that, and even on the free account, they are publishable, by the way. So
outstanding, yeah. So I'm a partner with them, and they gave me some training, and I was like, this could apply outside of productivity. Let me talk.
Absolutely, it can. So
good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I guess SEO will be giving an update to the Syndication Academy members then.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I just want to give you a shout out for that, because I even took time out of my day, which I really didn't have time to play with it today, but I was just like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. So I went in and played with it, and I could see how we can do some pretty nasty stuff with that. I'm gonna test with it a little bit. So
awesome.
Last question just came in. Unknown person says, can you tell me what digital marketing is in a nutshell? Yeah, it's marketing online. That's what digital marketing is. It's marketing online.
advertising delivered through digital channels, if you want to get technical.
Yeah.
But who wants to get technical?
You know, the way that I've thought about it, or I had heard a definition of, you know, marketing is one to many, sales is one to one. Does that make sense? So marketing is sales to many, and sales is one to one. I'm sorry, marketing is one to many, and sales is one to one. And so digital marketing is just marketing in any of its forms, but online, right? That's the way that I look at it. So. Okay, thanks everybody for being here. Mastermind with me tomorrow, as well as the the sales mini mastermind starting tomorrow is the first of 42 weeks. So if anybody wants to join that, join the mastermind and we can talk about it.